Not exactly the greatest run, but it worked.
Yeah.
Let's take two.
Yeah, let's see if this goes any different the second time.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on.
So slow. Get the fuck out of here.
This way?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think maybe I'm walking with a limp. It's a strange Dutch angle thing going on here. I'm not sure it makes sense outside the station, does it?
Yeah, I think it's you. Kind of like Left 4 Dead, you know, when you're like hobbling along and your leg is totally broken.
Oh, I don't remember that.
No, I'm thinking of, I keep referencing Call of Cthulhu. It's...
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice peaceful spacewalk. I really like that this game's import a lot of storytelling through gameplay. I feel like this is one of those scenes that in a lot of other games would just be a cutscene. I don't feel like we've gotten many cutscenes at all.
Yeah, that's true. Or
We had
like
a couple in the beginning, but almost none.
But also the difference between cutscenes and gameplay is pretty seamless.
Yeah, right.
A good example is climbing that ladder and then like falling.
Falling, sure, okay. Yeah, I guess that's, you know, you could technically call that a cutscene, sure. Well, all your deaths, if you're gonna call that a cutscene, all your deaths could be cutscenes, you know?
They are, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we're really kind of boring that line. The imagery here. Let me just ascend this ladder.
I feel like we're on a
to my
roller
only
coaster.
hope. Well, that too. Oh, I like yours better. I like yours better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands up.
No, let's not do that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could grip your flamethrower ever so slightly, I guess that wouldn't help us much out here. Oh no, this looks like where things...
I'm here, Verlaine. There should be 2 priming mechanisms to unlock the manual release. I see them.
Oh, I do not like that key card required.
Yeah.
Ripley, are you still there?
Do it. Nice. Read with your fingers. This is a kind of cool part of her character, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing her do space stuff, like, you know, because she works in space.
Yeah.
How many games
I would
do
love
you...
to talk to a scientist about, or like someone who has a better grasp of all of the like science fiction technology
Right.
that's going on here.
Clearing out the, I don't know, who knows what this is.
Yeah.
It's just cool to kind of see her work.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
had made the comparison to Dead Space before, too. I think it's a great high-level example of that, where your character is using the very tools for his job as weapons.
Yeah.
And I guess we're doing a lot of that here too, where we use tools as weapons, but
Totally.
the whole thing feels like, yeah, she knows how to do all this stuff. She works on a spaceship. We see her welding when we're introduced, you know?
Right.
Continues a lot of that blue collar dynamic too. You should not be out
Fuck.
here.
Oh,
Or you.
fuck. What? Wow.
Verlaine, I'm on my way up to the bridge.
Oh, listen to that music again. Sounds like our... Wow, did they give the same music for the ship? Is that the Torn's music?
I don't know.
It's been a while since I've heard that. I think that might be the opening music to the game, the title sequence. We blow past it so fast every time.
Oh, really?
I was, man, I'm relieved we're still alive. You know, you get a super wide shot of an explosion like that. Oh, yeah. This is where I want to be. Oh, I'm sorry. I should probably take this stupid fucking suit off. Isn't that what this other room's for?
Yeah.
Do we still do that here or no? Oh, no, I guess not. No, we're in a different room. Oh, I missed the Torns. I remember when we were afraid of the Torns.
Yep.
Little did we know.
Where's the bridge? Don't we need to go up?
I know, I'm just...
Reminiscing.
I'm enjoying the fact we're still here. So... The Torn saw its own adventures, I'm sure, while we were gone, but it does not look as poor off for wear as
No.
Sevastopol did. Can I please give this back? I do
doesn't
not
look
want to
like
be
you
in this
can.
goddamn fucking suit.
I think you gotta go back to that first room.
Verlaine?
Oh.
Oh, I don't like that.
What?
No.
What? What?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Well, that could have been a lot more grim had it not been for the light immediately at the end.
Yeah.
What are you thinking right now?
What the fuck?
I'm gonna move this microphone over here.
Oh
just
my
hope this
God,
works.
dude.
Leave this.
How? Oh. That was really unexpected.
The implication that I get immediately is that, all right, so we've ejected ourselves into space, and somebody finds us, right? I mean, that's the light, I think.
Maybe.
Ambiguous ending,
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not sure how I thought that was going to end.
Right. I guess, like, I was just expecting, like, you go and someone's like, yay, and they give you a hug, and then there's, like,
right?
cake.
I don't know why we thought that of this game, but I did too.
I don't know. It totally makes sense why they didn't have you take off your spacesuit then.
Yeah, right.
And immediately I was like, fuck, we did something wrong. Like, what happened?
Sure.
We went the wrong way. Like, was this one of many
the
endings?
good ending or the bad ending? Yeah, your classic.
Yeah.
Totally.
I don't think so. I think this was definitely the intention.
Yeah, right.
The funny thing for me is when I went to go see Gravity in the theaters, that was what I wanted Gravity to be.
Oh, really?
And I, for some reason, thought that movie was going to be like an abstract, like, character study as that astronaut, like, runs out of oxygen.
Right.
And that's kind of, I mean, this was like...
I don't know why you're giving away perfectly good movie ideas.
I know. Well, but look, I mean, Alien kind of went there, which is really cool.
Sure, totally.
Yeah. Obviously, you got the martyr thing. You kind of have, like, the parallel between Ripley Sr.
Yeah, right.
and Amanda, so that's cool.
Well, it's also a neater way to fit Amanda in the continuity, I think, without completely... You sort of leave the option to involve her more.
Yep.
Or to go, well, everybody who had any connection to her was eaten and she was sucked into space. And, that's a part of this we haven't talked much about since the beginning, but trying to put in more of this story of her daughter, just create a new piece of Alien canon out of nothing. And how to do that without... You do it in a couple ways. The Alien movies started to go, well, the story continues.
Right.
And this sort of says there was a lost story, or there's a piece of the story far removed from the usual thing.
I thought that was a killer ending.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Well done. Reminded me a lot of, we had that moment of kind of pushing the alien out, with the trap and everything. And that echoed the first movie a lot. But the ending of this, I think, kind of returns to that place, too. Although it's almost the inverse when you think about it. To spoil the ending of Alien, if you haven't seen it, is Sigourney pushing the alien out of the ship.
Right.
Basically smashing a button and sucking the alien out, which is kind of what the alien does to Amanda at the end of the game. Yeah. I mean, we still elect to hit the button.
Yeah, but there's no other choice, really.
Yeah, but
it's like...
It's funny, the alien is sort of... It's gonna, pilot the ship now and fly away back to its, What I mean? I don't know.
No, it's... so cool. Oh, look, Sigourney Weaver. Hi.
Hey, Sigourney. Oh, here we go, Ian Holm. Oh, for the likeness.
I mean, it also is, like, fucking infuriating that you, like,
I know.
You go to this other ship, and then...
I know.
It's totally screwed, so you turn around, and then you find another ship. By the way, we are in deep space.
Yeah.
It's, like, difficult.
Well, it's so cool for Amanda's character, though, because so little of it... when you have a game with a female protagonist, you use the word empowerment a lot. I mean, that's just what all games are, a sort of empowerment. There's a power dynamic to games just as what games exist for, right? They're empowering the user. But you hear that a lot with people who talk about female-led games. That Tomb Raider is an empowerment game, and, all of these games.
We could go in quite the rat hole about Tomb Raider and, feminism as it relates to Tomb Raider.
But to look at this for characters more than empowerment, I feel like this wasn't about slam the button and kill the alien and triumph and put your crown on and you are the supreme.
Right.
This was,
well, there was no victory. I mean, it was really just like what had to be
survival.
done. It was totally base, you know?
Every time you didn't die was your victory.
Right. But it's like, I mean, there's a lot that's heroic in what she did because, you could try and survive or whatever, but the alien would still be on the ship. Like, she obviously made the smartest decision, but it was the only decision.
Right,
It's like ending on this minor note, which is, I think, super appropriate to the story and to the tone of, like, all of the Alien movies that we've seen so far. And another thing that we haven't talked about actually is adding new canon through video games.
Right.
Which is like pretty...
Why we're here today doing this?
Well, yeah, that, but it's also a risky move. A game has to do it really, really well.
Right.
For it to be considered, like, accepted into the family.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we talked about a lot of the things in this game that were risky is certainly a word I would use. But, you know, you had mentioned right away people are complaining about the saves, and that was very controversial. Some people love it, some hate it. We mentioned the action sequences, which now that this is done, I don't ever feel like the game got too actiony.
No, I mean, that was like, no.
Everything felt totally perfect to me. So I think, it took a lot of risks, and normally when you say something like that, you want to say, you know, it's an experiment, some pay off, some don't. I don't have anything bad to say about this game.
No,
I think it's an amazing experience.
I do too, but I also kind of want to point out too, like, I don't think the save points are like that contentious, actually.
Yeah, neither do I.
It's pretty common for like most games of this vein.
Well, imagine this game. Go back and think about this game if you could save at any point.
Right. I mean, it's just not the same. But
it's not the same game
that's
at
true
all.
with all horror games. The thing that I think this does that's really different, to tie in a couple themes that you were talking about, is one, we have a female protagonist, and that doesn't matter a bit.
No, not really.
And that's something that's actually really cool, because I read this cool article about comedy and about simplicity in comedy the other day, and it was saying, it was talking about how the default is male, right? Because it's a simpler joke.
Sure.
So if I say like a guy walks into a bar, it's different than a woman walks into a bar, and it's
so much loaded baggage when you have a woman walking into a bar.
But I'm just saying, like, male is the default gender in a lot of things, like movies and TV and art and video games, especially video games. And the fact that, you know, they've decided to follow in the legacy of the original Alien series by having a female protagonist, but then also like not referencing that as something special, was super cool. Like, yeah, she's an engineer and doing really technical things, and like that, there's no reason to like point that out as anything out of the ordinary.
Well, I also think by setting it, you know, in the future, it distances itself enough that you don't even have to deal with this sort of thing. Say you set the game today, the fact no one even mentions that she's a woman would almost be a little off, almost a little unrealistic, right? I mean, think about, we meet the sketchy guy in the beginning, right? Kind of a sleazeball guy, doesn't like the other humans. We're following him around the ship.
Yeah.
He doesn't say one thing about like, you know, hey Toots, this is a man ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're hundreds of years in the future.
That's
we're
interesting.
kind of past it.
Hadn't
It's
even thought about
accepted
that.
that women work on spaceships.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
But I think we managed to get a lot of things that may fall under the umbrella of empowerment without just having her pick up a machine gun and plow through things. It doesn't have to be connected to, you know, it's just about her survival. It's about a person having the victories of not dying over and over.
And the other thing too that we maybe are forgetting a little bit is that like living in space is not as rare as like when we think about it. It's like, how many astronauts are there?
Oh, sure.
And I wish I knew that, because
we
it's
could,
definitely
if we
a
were
real
better
number.
prepared, we could name every name. That's how few there are. Right.
But now, like, people live their lives there. They're born there. Maybe they were never even on a planet. Like,
Sure.
That's cool.
What do you think going back through the game was the biggest surprise you had from before you knew anything about it?
Do you mean like about the gameplay or about the story?
As we went through there, if there's one moment that you think, now there were a lot of moments that are, oh fuck, kind of moments.
The nest.
I still think it's the nest for me
The
too.
nest. Yeah. I mean,
now
but
the
that's a
moment
classic big reveal. I
know. Yeah.
Prometheus is like a great example of that too.
Sure.
For the Alien series anyway.
The
you were
Matthew
talking
Broderick Godzilla does the same. I mean, this is
it's
an established sci-fi kind of staple.
What was the term you were using the other day about horror symbols?
Iconography.
Yeah, but wasn't there a specific word?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Anyway, yeah, it's like all the eggs.
Sure.
In the weird goo is like...
Yeah, right.
You know.
Well, but when you think about... I mean, I feel like Alien reserves that. And a credit to James Cameron's Aliens, the sequel, which I just completely all the time brush under the rug and make fun of as, the second best one. Or at least not as good as the first. I don't even know that I'd necessarily say it's the second best. But it's the one that establishes the icon of, oh my God, there's tons of them.
Right.
And you just pointed out that may be one of the best parts or the biggest what the fuck parts to this one, which I agree with. I think that, and also the moment, early on when we're still creeping through the ship and we walk into the trap room and the alien has us fucking dead to rights and then the explosion happens.
Yeah.
Even though I had seen that, I think it's in the actual opening to the game when you just leave it running or whatever, some kind of trailer or something. It was still, I went, oh fuck, that's it, we're dead. I don't know why, but it's still is one of those moments. I think some of the best moments are not even the plot ones, but the ones where you can't go 45 minutes in, this will happen. Things like the alien in the vents.
Yeah.
Which we fucked with in our heads 20 times before it actually happened.
We were like, we're safe in here. And actually, that happened a bunch of times. We would go into a place and be like, oh,
we're safe.
Not this room.
Yeah, this isn't going to be one of those.
This one's okay. We tried to meta outthink the game constantly.
Oh, and it has to be aware of that, right?
Well, right. And that's, I think, the thing that you're talking about the save points and what makes the mechanics of this game different. That's what makes the mechanics of this game special, in my opinion. A lot of games are set around pacing and really predictable, like mini boss, regular boss, side challenge, whatever. This, even we were questioning, just a few hours ago, is this the end?
Yeah, sure.
Are we, when is it?
Yeah, what's the end game?
Yeah.
Are there levels? How far through it are we, right?
It doesn't ever feel like I've, leveled up or accomplished something more.
You get different objectives, but they're not, it's not okay, we've closed that bit.
And you never celebrate any of them. No. It's not like, here's a power star.
Well, because it gets worse and worse until you get flung out of ship, right? Yeah, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
No, but to have the greatest moments be the ones that aren't the greatest, even kind of plot-ish moments or reveals or whatever, aren't necessarily things that happen tied immediately to the story or the narrative. They're things that are, for a game that you described as a little bit more linear than a lot of these open world games, you couldn't tell your friend, wait till you get to this part of the game.
No, it's the AI. It's it's just that unpredictable.
Some people may never see some of these.
Right.
If you play better than we do, you would have missed a lot of the death.
Well, and the big question for me is did anybody else experience running into multiple aliens at one time?
Right.
That was super unsettling for me to the point where I felt like it was a mistake.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Every time it happened.
Yeah, where you kind of went, is this a glitch? Is this what's happening here? But it only happened after we knew there were several.
Right, and that's a good point too.
Yeah.
I don't know what
How do you feel about the multiple aliens now that we've...
Well, obviously really mad, just in general.
Sure. Anything I disagree with the game about, I automatically put it in the camp of, well, I'm clearly wrong because I didn't make Alien Isolation and it's fucking perfect.
Yeah. Dude, it was really fantastic. The thing about multiple aliens is because you can't kill it, I think it starts to feel really futile very quickly.
Sure.
If you realize that it's not mano a mano, it's a nest of them or a horde. You start to feel like they're gonna try and double team you.
Right.
You know what
sometimes
I mean?
they do.
Yeah, and maybe that was chance, maybe not.
You get the moment at towards the end with the three that kind of come over you as you're waiting to hit the
Well, obviously that's
button.
intentional, but that's a cutscene.
Yeah.
That's different than the weird combination of scripted and non-scripted 2 alien thing that we ran into, when we were making our way back up after we had fallen, or that time when we had to actually fight 2 aliens.
Yeah.
With the flamethrowers.
Sure.
Much more than that, and I would be like, okay.
Yeah, right. Well, I think, the futility part of it, it's really interesting because I don't know if you remember, so I've been editing these now and putting them up. So I've seen a lot more of this footage than you have recently. But early in the game, when we first started encountering the alien, I think, actually, no, it was right after a moment I know you'll remember, which is actually one of my favorite moments, where we were trying to figure out to go left or right, and I was just ignoring your directions.
Yes, and the fire,
and
the
I
big
walked
explosion.
into the fireball, which actually may be my favorite fucking thing from the whole, certainly from the whole Let's Play.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I love that. But shortly after that, we kind of get out, and it's been one of the longer, tense, prolonged tense moments. And you made a joke about, just one bullet, put a revolver in your mouth, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you seriously asked me towards the end of the game, at what point do you just actually put a revolver in your mouth? We'd kind of come full circle from, haha, we should just give up, to the end where we're going, why put yourself through all this?
What is the end?
Yeah, what are you possibly going to do here?
But the amazing thing about this, though, like, the story that they take you through is that she never, ever, like, gets to that point.
Yeah.
Amanda never, like, gives up or even considers it. Like, the resilience of her in trying to find something that makes sense and that works.
Right.
Is really endearing, I think.
Yeah.
And like, that's true, of course, in all the Alien movies.
Sure.
Everybody, like, in the face of this Lovecraftian, like,
right,
epic creature, everyone's still just, like, resourceful. And that, I think, really resonates with people because it's kind of how we describe humanity. Mm-hmm. Like, we use tools and we find a way.
Well, what better could you ask for in a hero figure than somebody who is, I mean, I want to say incredibly relatable. We both have kind of engineering backgrounds, so I know we're sympathetic to that. But just as a person who isn't wearing a cape and toting a machine gun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a person who just does their job. And when something fucking horrendous happens, she's not prepared to deal with aliens. Nobody's prepared for that.
Yeah.
She just gives everything her best, and she still tries to save all the people around her, even when you and I are going, don't find a trauma kit for that guy. He's clearly going to fuck you over.
I was like, take that trauma kit yourself.
She's not naive. She's still, there's really great moments on the headset where she's just kind of going, yeah, blah, blah, stop talking. I'm trying to find your trauma kit. Just get out of here. She's kind of annoyed by the guy, but still trying to help him. All of those character interactions are great. And towards the end especially, I really feel the suffering more and more, I think, with each character when they go out. When we lose our legal liaison, I'm a little sad. I know you said Samuel's before that. You and I were kind of in the same place where I think I was more sympathetic than you were, but didn't really. Okay,
but watching
Samuel's
him
is gone.
die, like, actually, we started getting into more and more situations where we were meant to feel bad for those people, right? Watching Samuel's, like, try to save everyone and fail.
Yeah.
And then us fail in saving him. And then watching that woman with Morrow?
I don't remember.
The woman who was, like, trying to shut off the generator and she did it and then she died. Yeah. And then also Ricardo.
Ricardo was one of the worst because he was new, and I was just going, well, maybe here's a person. The other characters we fought through so much to get to what was inevitably their demise. Ricardo, I felt like we were just ramping up to his story, and it was like, don't even try and save people anymore.
And he was with us for a while.
Yeah.
Like, he helped us after we kind of had nobody, and he was going through this chaos after losing, like, all of his team or whatever.
In the absence of fanfare to his death.
Yeah.
You show up, and he's just another one of the corpses you find.
Right.
Just another person who's succumbed to that.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think about maybe at some point in the future, there's wonderful DLC for this?
Yeah.
Maybe we could poke at it?
Dude, totally. I would love to, like, get into this game a little more. Or what I really want to know is, like, if the Alien franchise, like, accepts some of this into the canon in other ways.
They should.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were mentioning, we're right at the moment of this Neil Blomkamp kind of announcement. And I think, I think largely the films are going to disregard the canon of this. They'll probably treat it in the same way they do comic books.
Exactly.
Where you pull in little bits, maybe.
But the thing about that is, I think, honestly, to the benefit of most movie series, is that they tend to ignore this sort of stuff. It's like, not fan fiction, but it's not... It's not in the family.
Right.
But this is such a great example, like, great execution wonderful respect for like the original story and the style.
Right.
Just like really well crafted. It's a very well crafted video game, and we talked a bit about like game engines and games being like procedurally generated. This just felt like it really had curated is the best word I can use.
Every drop soda can, people know where they are in this. Yeah, I would love this. I mean, it's why we did this. It's to help further legitimize in our tiny way. Not that like we have any fucking impact.
So much.
Yeah, right. To let the creators of Alien know that this officially should be considered.
We'll call them
canon.
After this.
But yeah, I think I set out to kind of prove something with this and go, there's a lot to chew on in games sometimes. And we hadn't played this.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping this wouldn't be the one that just, there's a lot to chew on. And then, it ends up being Far Cry 4 or something.
Yeah, totally. No, totally. But it's also like, I don't know, it didn't get sucked into a lot of video game patterns that I think would have lessened it, like side quests.
Right.
There was no time for a side quest.
Sometimes when I would go around searching just for items, or you would get aggravated when we would just take a second to glance at the dog tag we picked up to see.
I know, and that was the most side questy thing.
Yeah.
And it was so morbid and like interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're so focused on like staying the fuck alive, and like the fact that the alien could show up, like we said earlier, anywhere at any time, made you completely paranoid to do anything other than your immediate next objective.
Right. Yeah, the idea of one formidable foe was the thing that originally sold me on this. And that carried 100%. I mean, the idea of instead of a bunch of nameless, faceless people to plow through, instead of having, 100,000 face huggers everywhere that you just lit on fire all the time.
Right.
Or people you just mowed over with machine gun, tons of every human was a threat,
Right.
Instead of just mowing through the humans, you have one alien, and it's the one. I mean, until the end, but still, even at that point.
Until there's more.
It still feels like there's one presence.
Right.
It just might have brought its friends.
Exactly. Or like it made some more and now they're having a party.
Right. Okay, well, this was a blast.
Yeah, this was super fun.
I guess keep looking at the channel. We have a thing. It's let's play alienisolation.com. I guess a website that's called.
That is called a website, yeah.
When and if we end up doing more DLC or revisiting this in any capacity, I guess that's the place people will probably do it.
Yeah.
The podcast that I had mentioned, 16 hours of Let's Play ago, was doublefeatureshow.com. And I honestly don't know if we would ever do more Let's Plays of other franchises, but I feel like Alien's our thing now, and I kind of just feel like we have to. I want to know what everything else is doing.
I want to see it through. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so we'll
it's
find out.
It's not going anywhere.
Thanks a ton for watching, and thank you for doing this with me.
Thanks, man. This was really fun. Thanks, everyone, for listening to me squeal and make general noises of pain for hours and hours.
I know far more about you now than when we started. All right, bye.
Thanks. I feel like we're on a roller coaster.
Well, that too. Oh, I like yours better.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hand up.
No, let's not do that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could grip your flamethrower ever so slightly, I guess that wouldn't help us much out here. Oh no, this looks like where things...
I'm here, Verlaine. There should be 2 priming mechanisms to unlock the manual release. I see them.
Oh, I do not like that key card required.
Yeah.
Ripley, are you still there?
Do it. This is a kind of cool part of her character too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing her do space stuff, like, you know, because she works in space.
Yeah.
How many games
I would love to talk to a scientist about, or like someone who has a better grasp of all of the like science fiction technology that's going on here.
Clearing out the, I don't know, who knows what this is.
Yeah.
It's just cool to kind of see her work.
We had
made the comparison to Dead Space before too. I think it's a great high-level example of that, where your character is using the very tools for his job as weapons.
Yeah.
And I guess we're doing a lot of that here too, where we use tools as weapons. But
totally.
The whole thing feels like, yeah, she knows how to do all this stuff. She works on a spaceship. We see her
I mean, your leg is totally broken.
Oh, I don't remember that.
No, I'm thinking of, I keep referencing Call of Cthulhu. It's...
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice, peaceful spacewalk. I really like that this game's import a lot of storytelling through gameplay. I feel like this is one of those scenes that in a lot of other games would just be a cutscene. I don't feel like we've gotten many cutscenes at all.
Yeah, that's true. Or
we
like
had a couple in the beginning, but almost none.
But also the difference between cutscenes and gameplay is pretty seamless.
Yeah, right.
A good example is climbing that ladder and then like falling.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's, you know, you could technically call that a cutscene, sure. Well, all your deaths, if you're going to call that a cutscene, all your deaths could be cutscenes, you know?
They are, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we're really kind of boring that line. The imagery here. Let me just ascend this ladder. Not exactly the greatest run, but it worked.
Yeah.
Let's take two.
Yeah, let's see if this goes any different the second time.
Oh, come on. Come on. Come on.
So slow. Get the fuck out of here.
This way?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think maybe I'm walking with a limp. It's a strange Dutch angle thing going on here. I'm not sure it makes sense outside the station, does it?
Yeah, I think it's you. Kind of like Left 4 Dead, you know, when you're like hobbling along.
Building when we're introduced, you know?
Right.
Continues a lot of that blue collar dynamic too. You should not be out here. Or you.
Fuck. What?